There's been quite a lot of updates and changes to OpenAI here in the last week, so I wanted to bring it to your attention. Now, I typically don't like to talk about anything that doesn't have to do with the free version of ChatGPT, but these are important things for us to understand because some of this will be trickling down to even free users eventually. So the first thing I want to talk about is their release of the newest model, which is GPT 4.1. Now, I know what you're saying is like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure that they already talked about GPT 4.5. Yes, right now you do have access, if you're a paid user, to the preview version of GPT 4.5, but it's just sort of a research preview. It's not a full-on deal. But this is a full-on deal for 4.1, but that is something more directly created for coders in that this has lots of different aspects to enhance the coding process, but this is only available through the API. So paid user, API usage, that type of thing. And as you can see here, yes, it's better at certain things. It's not as good in some things, but it's overall generally better at some aspects if you were using it for API. So this is great in that, yes, this is an iterative improvement of their model, the foundational model. So this is great. This will eventually be an aspect of the free users also, because right now the free users are using 4.0. So eventually we would be moving up as the paid users get full on 4.5, which will be coming later this year. They've already expressed that as well. So that's what's going on there with the newest model. It doesn't really apply to ChatGPT users, but for the back end, for people that use the APIs, great news, even more improvements overall. Wonderful. But what I really want to talk about is something that has happened here recently with ChatGPT as far as enhancements to its memory. Now, the ability for it to have a greater context window and to be able to use memory that much more is something that was sort of predicted before. It makes sense that yes, this will increase. So like with 4.1, now the content window is a million tokens, right? Even better. So that's comparable to Gemini. So again, leading the way here as far as being able to do the most. Great. In a similar way, now the memories that ChatGPT has been increased in that it can retain more information about you as the individual. Now, this is an upgrade that has occurred because this has already been in place. ChatGPT is already remembering things about you. In case you didn't know, it fully is remembering things. Now, this is an aspect of the actual way that that AI works in order to be able to interact with you that much better. So it can remember certain things. So when you ask it a question about you or wanting to continue on with something, it will look back at its memories and then see if that applies to the response that it's going to try to give to you. Now, this is an interesting topic because it can become kind of complicated. And the thing is that for most of us free users, right, the memories that it has of us, even in the free version, is still there. But for most of us, it's probably already full. So I'll give you an example here. So here's my interface for ChatGPT. And when you go in here, you see that it already says saved memory full. Well, what is that even talking about? Well, if you go into your actual settings and then you go into personalization and you can see here memory, it's saying referenced memories here. This is let ChatGPT save and use memories when responding. So here's all my memories that it has of me, and it says that it's full, right? It says it's out of space for memories. Of course, there would be more space if I was a paid user, and now it would be even more because they've just upgraded to be able to have way more. So that's a big thing. But the cool part is that I can actually go in and look at my saved memories. So these are all the saved memories that it has of my interactions with it. So I could go in and delete things that I don't want to free up some memories, or I could leave what's there and just go with that. It fills up very quickly because I use my ChatGPT a lot and I tell it a lot of different things. I tell it to assume certain roles. I do lots of testing with it. So of course it's going to fill up with stuff that doesn't necessarily apply. So if I really wanted to use that feature, I could go in and delete things that don't really apply for it to keep a memory of pertaining specifically to me. But here's another interesting thing that you can do just to see what it really understands of you. You could go in and do this. Go in and say, what do you know about me? Just simply ask that question. You do that, and it'll give you a nice little listing and bullet points of some of the key things that it knows about you. Now, again, I told you that I use it all the time for different types of testing and all sorts of things. So the stuff that it remembered about me, it was great. It was about 90% accurate. Some of the other things it sort of put together from testing and stuff, so it wasn't quite right. But it was very, very close to knowing exactly all about me. So that's really powerful in itself. That's interesting, especially when you compare that to another powerful AI such as Gemini. So if we do the same thing in Gemini, we get something like this. When I ask it simply, what do you know about me? It says, I can remember things you tell me for future conversations. Just say, remember that, or keep in mind, followed by what you want me to remember. To delete something I've said, just ask for examples. Forget everything I told you about my family. You can also see and manage what you've saved for you on the saved info page. And you can find that simply by going into settings, saved info. You click on that and then it'll be a listing. Now, I've never told it to specifically save anything, so you can see here it doesn't retain anything. This is a little bit different than ChatGPT in that here you have to specifically say, hey, save this information, or specifically use the phraseology of remember that, keep in mind, and then whatever you want it to save. So I wanted to be sure, and I said, okay, so you don't know anything about me? And it says, you're correct. I don't know anything about you beyond some simple facts like my location, my current location. So it knows some IP aspects, but that's it. That's an interesting thing to consider because I think this is going to start to play a much larger role in our relationships with the AI. Sam Altman, on a couple of his tweets talking about this, talked about how this is going to enhance our connection with the AI because we'll be able to do things faster. It'll remember things. It'll be able to increase our efficiencies because you don't have to re-put things in. You can just say, hey, remember this from back then. So that's really powerful. I've also been looking at some posts of different people, and they're talking about how, for coding, this is great because you can just tell it to refer to this or refer to that I did before. So that's powerful in itself as well. But I'm much more interested in this aspect of developing a relationship with the AI because I think that's going to become a thing that continues to increase more and more. And this can be great or bad, right? Depending on how it's implemented. Because this can be great in that, yes, now I can have a better, more connected relationship with my AI because it can remember things. This can function as a quasi friend in that it can remember things. I mean, it would be nice for it to say, hey, happy birthday, it's your birthday, right? Or let's talk about something that you were discussing before. An enhanced capability to interact with me on a personal level would be excellent. And by having more enhanced AI, we're able to achieve that. Because to have a real relationship, it can't be like I'm talking to a goldfish that just forgets things every 10 seconds, right? No, it has to be something that, hey, it can reference things, it can remember things from long ago. That's what a real friendship is, that it can remember things like that. So the more memory and the more capabilities that memory can be interacted with and conjoined within our actual conversation, the more of a direct relationship we'll start to have with our AI. So this is a powerful thing to consider. And the next step with this is going to be when we have actual humanoid robots. Because if we have a humanoid robot with this advanced type of memory that it can remember things and have conversations with us and be able to actually interact with this higher level relationship, well, then that's going to enhance things overall in many different ways, right? Improve social connection, improve efficiencies. Yes, these are all great things that will allow us to be able to do that much more. Same thing with the student, that this AI could help the student in many different ways, prepare for classes, remind the student of certain things, tell it to continue to help to motivate it, all sorts of different positive aspects of this. But of course, we need to consider both aspects, right? It's always a balanced approach that we need to make sure that we're thinking about in order to move forward in the right way. Because if this starts to be such a great relationship where, hey, this is awesome, it remembers everything and it's really nice and I can talk to it and it's very helpful, can even serve as a counselor, all these things, great. but we don't want to have the situation where a student, an individual, business person starts to prefer these types of relationships over real human to human type of relationships. There needs to be a proper balance. There needs to be an aspect of, hey, this type of relationship should help me to improve this type of relationship, right? I should be able to have good interactions with my humanoid robot, with my AI, so that I can have very good relationships and interactions with real people. So there's a lot to that on many different levels. Things like how it's going to respond should be structured in a way to help to develop the relationship, but also to help to remind the individual in some way that yes, healthy relationships are also important with real humans. So that's going to take some tweaking. That's going to take some ethical considerations for programming. All these different things come into account. And this kind of ties in a little bit with what I recommend to anyone that's using an AI, in that you should remain cordial. You should remain professional. So things like saying, please do this, or thank you when it gives you information, I think is important for us to remember. Yes, there's debates and even research dealing with, hey, does that really improve the information, the responses that you get? Some research indicates yes, that it does, because AI is designed to be conversational. So the more that you are being appropriate and professional and courteous, then the better the interaction will be. So there's one aspect there. But my biggest reason for encouraging people to do that, to say please, to say thank you, is because that's what a professional does, right? When you're interacting with a real person, you say please, you say thank you. So by continuing to develop that type of professional interaction with your AI, with your humanoid robot in the future, well, then you're continuing to develop your professional capabilities here. You are what you practice. So if you practice this here, then you'll be that much better here. So that's just one small aspect of understanding how our relationships need to continue to develop in the right way, and we need to use the AI in the right way. And again, once again, as always, this ties in with AI literacy in being able to effectively use the AI to the best possible way so that we can maintain our capabilities and really enhance our functions, not just with the AI, but also in the real world. So this all ties together. I think this is important for us to know, for us to see the developments of AI in many different ways so that we can prepare, we can understand, and then we can see that these things might affect our students, might affect our coworkers, so that we can help to be ready and aware of these things so that we can make sure that it's a prosperous future for everyone involved. And remember, learning is for life. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and for sure, give me your comments. I learn a lot from all of you, and I think that we learn a lot from each other. So please put some comments in, and then we can continue to discuss. Thank you.